Let's have a refresher. Let's start from the basics. Life is tragic. Life is suffering. Life is full of pain. Life is tragic first, beautiful second. Nobody asked to be born. No one's children asked to be born. Nobody's parents asked to be born. Humanity, as we know it, modernity, how we're living in America in 2025, is the result of thousands and thousands of years of trial and error with humanity, let alone nature. And all of this is the consequence of something. We are living today because people put their blood, sweat, and tears into goodness and badness, both, a little bit of both. But all the goodness we experience, all the surplus, all the luxury is a result of people's efforts, of people's hard work. And despite it being a highly flawed system, the flight, our circumstances being highly flawed, people being highly flawed, we're all doing our best. No, we're not. No, we're not. I guess that's where it all comes to a halt, right? All things considered, are we all doing our best? I'll speak for myself. I'm not doing my best. I aspire to do my best, and then I momentarily do my best, but I don't consistently do my best, and I have to admit it. And what's the purpose of doing your best? Why? My purpose of doing my best is to have a greater harmony with the people around me, to have a greater harmony with existence itself, to have a greater harmony with my internal system. Again, I had another bout, because I'm just a hard working guy, believe it or not. And I had another bout of a tailspin where depression and a sense of hollowness was just right around the corner, where I too engage in typical normal behavior. But I actually laughed and I actually scoffed because my belief, my faith, it's so ironic, man. My faith is playing a large role. My belief system plays a large role in what gets me back on a path of mental stability and a kind of sense of internal well-being. And the reason why it's ironic is because I began with a very typical Christianity, a very typical belief system, and it was kind of just pray, faith as small as a grain of mustard seed, right? And then eventually I shed that belief system after asking myself a series of brutal, honest questions and giving myself brutal, honest responses. I realized that I believed in what I believed in simply because I was born into an environment where it was normal and that's what I was taught. And I wanted to believe it was true. I wanted to believe that everything that was said in the Bible, in general religious discussion, was accurate. And people are so funny with this because they're like, how could you not believe in God? It's so hilarious. Everybody is a non-believer to someone else's belief. I just want to let you know, and I'm not trying to stir the pot here. All I'm saying is this: if you truly are a Christian, like I'm talking about like a true Christian, a Christian that believes in the Jesus of the Bible, therefore you're an adherent to that scripture and to that belief system. And if you are, then you have to believe that a Muslim is believing in a false prophet and a false God. You have to believe anybody that alters the scripture in general, like whether it's Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, any religion, even Catholicism, people who are Christians but in the vehicle of Catholicism, you would have to challenge all of that if you truly do adhere to the scripture. So my point is, even if you believe in a God, the purpose of any kind of doctrine is that you're believing in a very specific God. And if you believe in a specific God, then you're not believing in other ones. Anyway, that is a difference. There's a difference between that versus people who just claim to believe in some kind of generic supreme being that people are trying to grasp through religion and through religious thinking. I digress. Here's the point. There is something beautiful to our capacity to believe and our capacity to have faith. You often see our capacity to believe and have faith applied to religious doctrine, to religious contexts. But our capacity to believe and have faith clearly can extend to all other kinds of things. And my belief system, when I'm in that tailspin, when I'm falling susceptible to that depression, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, I've engaged in this practice so much to where I know it's true, even if I don't feel it, which is, again, it's requiring having faith. And I can see the truth right now as I speak, but in that moment, I can't see the truth, or I can see the truth, but I can't feel it. It is knowing that it's all temporary, that I am not identical to my sense of discombobulation. When I have that sense of discombobulation that makes me want to engage in some kind of indulgence of stimulation to the point where it sends me to oblivion, when I want to do that, I'm fully aware that it's not an accurate map to fulfillment or to satisfaction. That my mind is, for better or worse, playing tricks on me, right? And we don't often, and I think it's so much easier said than done. Take a simple example of being hangry. You can be aware that you're hangry all you want. I'm so angry because I'm hungry. It's another thing to actually be able to put it in its place, to where, not that you're pushing it down and ignoring it, but to where you have such a perspective on it that it doesn't dictate your thoughts and your actions and your behavior. It's like it becomes akin to feeling the energy of a scratch on my arm. I could feel it. It wants to be itched so bad, but I'm not going to itch it. It's so similar to that. We itch our thoughts a lot, in the sense that we tether our sense of self to the feeling, to the thought. Oh, I'm just in this. What it is an oversimplification. Oftentimes we're in these insecure states, and the insecure states then dictate so many. It'd be different if it's like we can just know it's temporary, know that this insecure state is not meaningful, it's not profound. It's the result of a bunch of objective deficiencies, fatigue, or being overworked. You're not recovered yet, and as a result, you're not thinking from a rested, rejuvenated place. And as a result, you're thinking all kinds of silly, nonsensical, insecure things, because you're literally in a state of deficiency because you need to rejuvenate. We don't see it that way. Typically, the person who is at night, let's say it's the end of the day, you worked your ass off, you're tired, you're fatigued, your mind is not working in an ideal way. You have to hold your mind to a different standard, but we don't. That's where most fights come from, with people who claim to care about each other, and people who are in relationships. You often fight because you're tired, and so then you're tired, you're deficient, you're malnourished. It's just all kinds of things. So then, where should all of the intention and the effort be? Of course, all the intention and the effort should be in recovering and rejuvenating, but that is not our norm. That's not our norm. Is push through it. Our norm is everybody's tired. Our norm is even complaining about things and not really realizing how much rest matters, how much getting your proper nutrients matter, how much certain just basic physical activity and push yourself matter, how much having a faith and a belief system that these things matters. That's what's even crazier. Believing that it matters. When I was first introduced to the negative effects of certain foods, I never forget the reason why I was able to. This was in my early 20s. I was able to stop. I dropped high fructose corn syrup like a bad habit immediately. I dropped all kinds of inflammatory foods immediately, because my brother Eric had shown me. He had printed out this research about these high fructose corn syrup and puff grains and stuff. And like, let's say, like, whether it was true or not, and it is true, these things are inflammatory, but let's say it's not about it being true or not. I believed it. And it was true, but I believed it. That's what matters. I believed it, and it rooted itself in my capacity to believe, and therefore it informed my eventual decision making, my every decision thereafter. It was informed by this belief that I'm putting inflammatory things into my body, and I also believe it's not good to put inflammatory things in my body, and I also believe that I care about my system, my body enough. I'm not perfect, but enough to where I'm not going to consciously, knowingly hurt it if I can help it. This is all belief, reading more and whatnot, because you believe it's good for you. I've been trying to read more because I just know that I believe it's good for me, whether I like it or not. That being said, I don't do there's a lot of things I know would be good for me whether I like it or not, and I still don't do them. 1,000%. It's a fight. It's a struggle. For sure. This it's not easy. I don't want to make it sound easy at all. It's hard. Existence is hard. Life is hard. Talking about this stuff, thinking about this stuff is hard, especially when there's a bunch of normal in your life. You're just surrounded by normal. It's all difficult. It's all hard. But that's why I just want to go over the basics and whatnot, because this is all hard. But let's continue to believe. Let's continue to strive, and that's all we can do. And this shit ain't sweet, man. But at the same time, it can be. Blessings.